Hello. You clicked on this video, that's because you are looking to figure out better, more effective ways for you to study. Now, whether you're in elementary school, middle school, high school, law school, college, medical school like me, studying is a skill that can be built up and harnessed to your own advantage as you go through all different academia and all different subjects. So in this video, you've clicked on the correct one. This is going to be talking about effective ways to study high volume, high difficulty concepts in an easy, manageable, and perhaps even fun way. Let's get started. So study method number one, the most basic but also effective way, note taking. Now, think back to when you were in middle school or even high school. The first time you're actually having lectures, you're having to understand high density information that the lecturer, the teacher is presenting to you quickly. What do? Pull out your notepad and you start writing notes. That is a key way. And it is a method of studying that I still use to this day in medical school. Some of the hardest material that you can learn in all school, I'm still using note taking to learn it. Now, there are even upper semesters, upperclassmen that I know of who've made it through medical school, who are in their clinical years, and they swore by note-taking. One of the smartest guys in our whole school was an avid note-taker. That is how he learned and memorized high volume and densities of information. And that is what you can help to do too. Now, one thing that I think goes hand in hand with note-taking, lectures. Now, there are many different videos and methods you can use to note take. In fact, I would encourage you to look up some videos or some methods of arranging the paper in ways that you can take avid notes clearly, responsibly, and wisely. That is what I would recommend. And implement question asking, question answering in your notes. That is how you're going to master material quickly. Now, let's move on to the second high yield study method that I know of. Textbooks. Oh man, the oldest known record of studying, of ways to learn and memorize material. Textbooks. We all know, we all had them haunt our nightmares back when we were in high school. Oh my goodness, this history textbook, oh, there's so much. Science textbook, oh my gosh, I'm struggling. Well, trust me when I say, textbooks can be your worst enemy, but also your best friend. There are so many well-written textbooks out there. In fact, the most common medical school textbook is called First Aid. I believe it is a very well-written textbook. It is very clearly written in a concise and even enjoyable way. That is what a fantastic way to study your notes. Fantastic way, by reading textbooks. Even if you're tired, if you're burnt out, just don't even worry about understanding. Just read the words. Just do something, and that will help you put you on the right track to fully understanding how the material is and how you're learning it. Textbooks. Now, let's continue. Perhaps one of the most widely used methods in medical school to study, flashcards. Oh my gosh. Have you guys ever heard of Anki? Well, if you haven't, let me bless your mind. Anki is an online flashcard system that allows you to practice spaced repetition and active recall in a fast, effective, and time-sustainable way. It is the most widely used study method in medical school. It helps you memorize high volumes of content and ideas quickly and effectively. Let me tell you, Anki and flashcards is a fantastic way to study. And even if you're not using Anki, if you're in high school, even college, and you don't want to use Anki, you don't want to pay for Anki, just use normal flashcards. Think back when you were younger, when you were doing spelling, or when you were doing a vocabulary quizzes and tests. Flashcards are a fantastic way to hone in that information and make you practice remembering, okay, what was that one detail I need to know? What was that one thing I need to know? Flashcards are the way for you to do that. Let's continue. The next most important high yield method of studying, group study. Groups. Let me tell you guys when I say, oh, that's not a great marker. Maybe you can't see that very well. But let me tell you guys, I might change that in editing. But let me tell you guys, one of the most effective methods of studying is studying in a group with other people. That is a fantastic way to practice getting the information out there and having a conversation about it. In fact, in India, a very common way of testing students is this thing called Viva Voce. Essentially, it's where you have a conversation with the instructor. The instructor has a conversation with you, essentially an oral essay where you have to describe a certain concept, describe a certain thing. There's a reason that is a popular, widely used phenomenon to learn material, because that is a very common way of testing, a very great way to learn it. Study groups. In these groups, you will discover new ways to look at material, new perspectives you can use to understand the high density material. The harder the materials, the better study groups are. If you're looking at a math exam, you could learn better ways how to distribute and how to approach problems. Some people might look at it one way, but a better way and even a fantastic way would be to look at it a different way. History. Multiple perspectives. Each country teaches it its own way. English. Some person might have gotten one thing from the book, one concept, while you got a completely different thing that maybe they can align and form a great, fantastic overall picture. Study groups. Now, this next method of studying is going to be for the people who are burnt out of the school materials, for the people who are tired of looking at textbooks, opening flashcards, watching lectures. You want to do something different. You want to do something that your school has not specifically sanctioned. Well, I'll tell you this. Outside resources. These can be the hidden bonus effectiveness that you have, the hidden trick, the secret weapon, if you will, of studying that you have. There's so many YouTube videos, even TikTok videos out there of people studying material in different ways. Think about it. You're on TikTok, you're scrolling, and you see a video on World War I. Now, you haven't learned about World War I in years, but you watch it and you think, oh, this is interesting. This is an interesting topic. This is teaching me new information. There are so many videos out there on all different platforms. Play to your strengths, especially if you're burnt out. Play to your strengths. If you love scrolling TikToks, watch a couple of TikToks. Just go to the hashtag section, watch a couple of TikToks on World War I, World War II, if you're in history class or mathematical algebra. It's a phenomenal way to get material in when you're tired, when you don't want to look at normal things. Think of it like this. If you're someone who loves watching TV shows and YouTube videos before you go to bed, why don't you instead, for just one video, watch someone explain the concept to you that's not your professor. That will give you a completely different perspective, perhaps even a better all-around viewpoint of the material. Outside resources can be king. Now let's look at the final study method that I believe might even be one of the most important, if not the most important, for memorizing high difficulty material. That is practice questions. Oh my gosh, this has saved me in medical school. I've been on the brink of my grade, and because I did lots and lots of practice questions, I made it through. Practice questions are something that can save you from the depths of your grade. You practice, boom, that's how you do it. And you might be asking, where do I find practice questions? If you're in high level education, academia, there are many Q banks you can use. For medicine, I can rattle off maybe 5. For law, I'm sure there are many. For engineering, I'm sure there are many. In every textbook that there is, if you flip to the back, you will find practice questions. Or if you looked at the end of the chapter, you will find practice questions. Phenomenal ways to study. Probably the best way once you have actively learned and tried to understand the material. So let's recap. Before we end the video, let's recap. When you go to lecture, take some notes. Maybe look up a couple of videos. I might make some in the future about how to effectively take notes. But let lectures be the first starting point of material. In fact, if you want to be even better, before lecture, read the material. In medical school, we have these things called workshops at my school. And workshops are where you have to learn the material before you come to class. And during class, they give you practice questions. And that's when you have to really apply what you know. So, use your textbooks first. Look at the material just a little bit. A little bit will go a long way. It doesn't have to be too much. 5-10 minutes is all you need sometimes. Then go to the lecture, review, take some notes, use flashcards and group studying to really unlock it in. Once you get tired of the material, use outside resources. For medical school, there's things called boot camp, boards and beyond, Pathoma, so many different resources you can use. Textbooks, all these things you can use. Outside resources, videos, YouTube videos, TikTok reels, Instagram reels. I've made a couple Instagram reels about medical concepts that you can use. Boom, outside resources. And finally, when you're studying for your exam, when you're cramming, when you're really trying to get everything you can out of studying, practice questions, man. Practice questions. That is how you really cement what you've learned and really take in what the information is that you need. My name is Rohan. I'm a semester 3 first year medical student, and I'll catch you in the next video. I want to see great things. I want to see you guys put everything you've done, all the great grades you've made in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.